Good morning, fellow traders. It's Black Coffee Trader. It is Wednesday, July the 2nd. Time to do our daily trade plan, kind of looking at the markets from yesterday and where things are at. Let's just dive right in. On the NASDAQ, interesting, yesterday, the low of day from yesterday was exactly the same low of day that we had on Friday. So we have kind of a double bottom here. In a sense, that looks a little bit bullish. If that can hold, that may be a bounce higher. I've also marked out here the Friday high, which is kind of in the middle of this noise, but there's a reason for that. I'm not necessarily looking to trade off the Friday high, but you'll see that a little bit later on. The Friday high may come into play on some of these other indices as well. So yesterday's high sitting right up here at an interesting level. There's some support resistance areas right there around the 22,850s. And obviously you have the new all-time high sitting above here at the 22,935. So I feel I'm a little unsure on the NASDAQ this morning. We definitely could see further downside. We could see this thing, roll over and continue to move down. If we do get a break and retest opportunity below the low of day from yesterday and that Friday low, definitely something to take a look at short potentially. And then you have a couple key areas sitting down here below. Pretty easy to see some of these areas to be careful of and maybe take profits into. If we are taking a long, if we get a hold here, that could be a good long. It could be. And I think we need to look at some of the other markets to really make sure that we are confident in that specific long. The interesting thing was yesterday we had such a big move to the downside on the NASDAQ. That did not occur on the ES. And I don't think it occurred on the other markets as well, the Russell and the Dow Jones, the other three that I'm looking at. So again, I think generally speaking, I'm still bullish, but we have to see this thing maintain above maybe this overnight high right here around the 22,770s or 780s, I should say, this Friday high and maybe the high of day from yesterday. If we get good holds in there that looks like further upside is there, that could be a good long trade. Depends on what some of these other markets are doing. Again, if we get a hold at this low of day from yesterday and Friday, I really like that. If we get a pullback here and a good hold, that could set up a really nice long. If that fails, that could set up a good short. So I think that's kind of the play that we're looking at on the NASDAQ. Moving to ES, notice the Friday high. And that's part of why I have that on the chart on the NASDAQ. The Friday high, we are sitting above that Friday high, and we have stayed above that Friday high. In fact, yesterday we fell through it, but the low of day from yesterday, sitting down here around the 6230s, which that lines up with the 6230, which was, pretty much in the low range from Monday as well. So, the Friday high is sitting right here around the 6240s. And so if that holds, this thing is looking pretty bullish. If that holds, if we get a pullback to this area, that could be a great long. A pullback to that may give us the pullback that we're looking for here into this low of day from yesterday on the NASDAQ. So we shall see, but there's a possibility of that. Obviously, if we get above the high of day yesterday, we get a good hold and a break and retest above. That would be a good long. If we fail below yesterday's lows again, the prior day low, the PDL, if we get those, that's always if you get a failure of that, that's always something to look at for a short-term short, so to speak. So that's the play on ES. Obviously, watching that Friday high, watching the low of day from yesterday. Dow Jones, I spotted an interesting thing on the Dow Jones and probably one of the bigger watches for me today. I think there's a big opportunity on the Dow Jones. Obviously on all of the indices right now, with the exception of the Russell, which we'll get to in a minute, but all the big daily moving averages are sitting below price. We are getting a little bit expanded above the daily 20. Market likes to kind of hold on to that daily 20. However, take a look at this level right here around the 44,670s. We had resistance turned into support, a little bit of liquidity there, but resistance, support, and then we turned that and we held it as support strongly and then turned to resistance, and we have been below that. The last time we were above that was in February of this year. Now, look at where we are at today. Yesterday, we broke through that level. If we can hold this 44,680, we'll call it, if we can hold that today, A pullback to that level could set up a wonderful long on the Dow Jones. That, in my opinion, could be somewhat of a lead indicator potentially on the NASDAQ and on the ES. Now, those markets don't necessarily move together with the Dow Jones, or these markets don't all move together. Obviously, yesterday was very clear. The ES did not see the pullback that the NASDAQ saw. So you can't go by one and say, oh, the other one's going higher. However, there is a general consensus that you can kind of look at oftentimes. But if that holds, that is a long I will definitely be looking to take. I really like that play. I just think that's a big opportunity and something we absolutely have to look into, given the fact that that was such a clean level area over the last several months. And this is what it looks like on the shorter term on a 15-minute chart. If we're looking for a pullback right into this level. And if we get that today, I am 100% going long, and that's a trade I would probably take on the funded account. I did not trade it yesterday, but that's a trade I most certainly would take if that sets up. If we fail that, then obviously this turns back into resistance potentially, and you have a little bit of a liquidity grab above it. Big picture, looking at the big picture there, that's what that would be looking like. And if we fail that, that could set up a nice short. And again, that would be a quick short. Look at this big rapid move up. We would probably see a rapid move back down into the lows of days from yesterday. And if that continues to fail, then you set up other shorts. So I think that's a big one. It's probably the biggest watch for me today. I think it's very clean, it's very clear, and has a big opportunity both to the upside and to the downside. Russell, looking at the Russell, we have that Friday high once again coming into play. Look at the Friday high reaction we had back here June 11th. We had a reaction here on the Friday high. Here we had the Friday high. And if we get a pullback to that, I think that sets up a really nice long trade. You are longing into the big daily 200 moving average, which has me a little bit cautious. However, shooters, you got to shoot. If the setup is there, if it looks good, you might take that trade and maybe scalp it, profit take into that daily 200, or maybe take some off and hold and see if it continues to ride. You are looking at kind of a mini, if you look at a short-term time frame here, kind of a mini double top here. So that could just be the pullback move back into this Friday high and go from there. If we lose the Friday high, I think you definitely have to short that down into these areas. Kind of a key, easy to see level here around the 22, or the 2185 to the 2180s. And here you have the low of the day from yesterday. Obviously, Russell had a huge move yesterday, big move yesterday on the Russell. So we'll see if we get a little bit of a correction pullback and kind of a stair step higher. And I think that's where that Friday high Friday high level could come into play. Obviously, if we get below that, we get below this daily, the low from yesterday, the PDL, so to speak, definitely looking to short that. Daily 20 is sitting right here. So there's something to be cautious of, but definitely some opportunities, I believe, on the Russell today and on the Dow Jones, that big one on the Dow Jones. I really like this one as well. If we get that pullback, that is definitely something to look for on the Russell. If we just continue to push higher and we get a break and retest above yesterday's high of day, definitely something to take. On the overnight, we did break yesterday's high on the overnight, so that's interesting. I think that also occurred on, it also occurred on the Dow Jones. We broke yesterday's high in the overnight session, so I don't know if that occurred on, it did occur as well on ES, and we did not get that on the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is definitely a little bit more short-term bearish here, intraday, so to speak, or not intraday, but really short-term picture. Definitely is a little bit more bearish, but again, that could reverse, and this could literally just be a reset and a fuel to go higher. So big watch for me today is this Dow Jones trade. I really am looking for this to see if that sets up. It may not. We may just ride. If this thing just continues to ride, this is still a trade I'm looking for. It may not develop until later this week or next week, but that is still a watch that or a trade setup that I will be looking for if we do get that. So the Russell Friday high, the big opportunity here on the 4460s, potentially on the Dow Jones. Those have me really interested. And then obviously we will see if something sets up on the ES or the NASDAQ as well. So that's the game plan for this morning. Hopefully we can keep it green. Maybe we'll take a trade today on the funded account. We'll see. had a decent little day yesterday on some of the evals. So I mean, we're not anywhere near past, obviously, just the first day, but anyway, we'll keep you following, keep you up to date on how that goes. But so far so good. So hopefully we just keep our head on straight, and some of these moves set up today, and we can capitalize on it. That's the goal. So all right, thanks for following along. Appreciate you guys. Have a green day. Be careful, and we'll catch up with you on the next one. Take care, and so long.